What's up, guys? It's John Mahaffey. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about like a transformation, if you want to call it that, and kind of what I did. Just for me personally, to help me go from like looking like this to like maybe now looking more like this. And kind of, the things that I went through and that experience, things that I've learned, and, kind of how things that I realized along the way, or even now looking back, things that I realized I did right or I did wrong, or whatever. So I think this is going to be more geared towards people that are going to, classify themselves as like the hard gainers, stuff like that. I definitely put myself in that category for a very long time. And I kind of just want to talk about how I got around that, kind of what I did to just kind of stop thinking that way, but also like how did I finally get myself to not be the hard gainer? How did I get myself to add the weight on, to build mass, to build, lean mass, and then at some point just to build mass in general, and kind of how did I get over a lot of those hurdles and plateaus and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. Or at least that's kind of what I want to talk about for the most part. So mainly, or what do I want to say? So first, kind of what I want to talk about is, when I show pictures that show like what I used to look like before, just for reference, I'm about 132 pounds right here. And no hate, but this is not me at 13 years old. This is not me at 16 years old. And I talk about the transformation I had when I turned 20 finally, and I finally got to, gain some weight. This is me well into my 20s. I'm about 23, 24 in these photos. And this is the way that I looked from the time that I was 13, but I was like that for another 10 years. So I had a very hard time gaining weight, even working out, and never really helped. I didn't get bigger. I didn't see any mass. I never got leaner. I never got more jacked. I never got anything that I wanted to out of it. And this is into my 20s. So this wasn't, like I said, I'm not using frames of references from when I'm 13 years old, and look at me now at 35. This is me at like 23 years old, give or take, a year or two, or like a year. And then now, the way that I look now, I'm 30 years old. And I've looked this way for the past couple of years. And to be honest with you, from the photo that I show when I'm 23, to photos even now, there's only like 2 to 3 years in between those for a lot of those pictures. So, and a lot of my growth, my gains, and all that happened in like a 2-year span. And it really happened when things started to click for me, and I stopped doing certain things and stopped thinking certain ways, and I started doing things that really helped and that really mattered. So first off, the one thing that I realized that really helped my mindset switch, and it definitely caused the most growth and gains that I had by far, and this is like the secret to not being a hard gainer, or whatever build style you think that you are. The thing that really changed it is I stopped telling myself and stopped saying out loud that I'm a hard gainer. Because to be honest with you, it's not like really a thing. Like, yeah, there are going to be times and people that, okay, the worst case scenario, yeah, they're not going to put on muscle mass. But for the majority of people, it might be harder for you, sure. But like, it's only harder because like you haven't realized what you need as a person. That's it. And, it's not some big program. It's not some big, do this and do that exactly to the T and take this and it'll blow you up. No, the thing that really hit for me and that really caused me to show the most growth is when I stopped saying I can't grow. I don't have it, I can't grow muscle mass. I'm a hard gainer. No matter how much I eat, I just can't put weight on. I stopped doing that, and I started putting weight on because I started to be accountable for the things that I could be, that made me realize I'm not a hard gainer. I'm making this hard on myself. I realized I'm going in the gym, I'm working out, I'm being consistent, but I'm not putting on mass. I just wasn't eating enough food. And I said it for years. I said it from the time I was 17 until I was about 24, 25, when I really started to put size on, started putting mass on. All I kept saying is, I'm eating so much food. I'm eating so much food. And the God honest truth, and that's you too, and you're like, I'm eating so much food, I'm not getting any weight. I'm eating so much, I'm eating so much. The truth is that you're not. You're not eating enough food. You need to eat more food. That's the blunt, honest truth. You are not eating enough. I know you think you are. I know you're like, but John, I'm eating 3-4 times a day. I've eaten 5 times a day. I'm having protein shakes throughout the day. It's not enough. I'm telling you right now that it's just not enough. And you really need to sit down and stop going, well, I think that I'm eating around 3,000 calories a day. You're not. Like you're just not. The odds that you are eating 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 calories a day, and that's true, and you still are not gaining weight, the odds of that are 0.1%. The truth, the God honest blunt truth, is you do not eat enough food. The protein shake, it helps. But you eating 3 square meals a day, like you've been doing, and you add in a protein shake, and you're like, man, I can't put size on. You're not eating enough food. So I want to kind of share some things that I did that really helped a ton. And some of this, looking back on, I don't really advise too much anymore. And I will say this, I'm not a doctor. So don't come to me with like diet, like I'm not a dietitian. I don't really know like all that stuff. What I do know is I went from like 130 pounds to 200 pounds in like 2 years, staying relatively lean. I did not bloat. I didn't get fat throughout the process. I have a bit of body fat on me now. Sure. I'm not super lean right now. Sure. But I went from 130 pounds with almost no body fat, almost no muscle mass on my frame, to being 200 pounds at a decent body fat So with that said, I'm not a doctor. This is not the most optimal way to do it. I hate saying that stuff because sometimes I understand that, getting what you can and even a little percent more growth is more growth. I get that. I just want to tell you what I did that got me from 130 pounds to honestly about 170, 180 within like a year, to the point where my thighs have stretch marks on them for about halfway up my thigh, all the way up into my hip creases. On my inner thighs, I have stretch marks up here on my chest, like in my pec and armpit region. I have stretch marks along my back. I have stretch marks to show that I put on a good amount of weight very, very quickly. So, first off, I started to realize eating breakfast and a lunch and a dinner that's not gonna help. Because for me personally, the reason why I couldn't put on size is I couldn't eat enough food. So, instead of trying to be like, I'll just eat bigger meals, that didn't work for me. I wasn't able to eat bigger meals. My problem is that I would eat food and then I was full quicker, or I would eat a full meal and then I wouldn't be hungry when it came time to eat the dinner. So the biggest things that I did, instead of eating 3 times a day, I tried my absolute hardest to eat 6, 7, or 8 times a day. At minimum, my goal was 6 times per day, adding 7 and 8 if I could. And the ways that I did that is that I ate every 3 hours. So the job that I have, it might not be the same that you have, so you might look a little different, but you need to figure out how to adjust to make it work. And the ways that I did that is my work, at the time, I was working, and I still work in manufacturing, but I was working as an operator on the floor, which meant that I got a break every 2 hours, and I got about a 15-minute break every 2 hours. So I would eat every break. And I got a rectangular glass Tupperware. It was kind of shallow, and I just filled it, and I would eat 3 of those per day. Now, I still track calories. Super big thing to do. You need to be tracking your calories. You need to make sure. You need to get a food scale. You need to measure things out with cups, all that stuff. You need to know how much you are hitting. So what I would do is I would divvy it up, and I would try to hit 3 to 3,500 calories per day. And I really tried to hit, 150 grams of protein a day when I weighed 150 pounds. I tried to eat 200 when I weighed 200. I tried to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight in order to grow. I tried to hit a little above that, the best that I could. So I'm not very good at laying out the plan that you need, but honestly, I think that's a pretty quick, easy Google search. And I'm sure you're already doing it. Chicken and rice, chicken and broccoli, ground beef and mashed potatoes, protein shakes, dairy, cottage cheese, stuff like that. You guys already know that. You can find a diet plan. But my thing that really helped me is I already knew all that stuff. I knew what I should be eating. I knew how much I should be eating, but I couldn't seem to do it. I couldn't seem to get the amount that I needed, the frequency that I needed, at the consistency that I needed it to be. So what I did was I tried to eat 6 times a day at minimum, and I needed to add on 7 or 8 times a day. Now, again, my life looked a little different. I was able to take the breaks at work. I was able to split my meals up there. But a big thing that helps a lot, and I don't do what you want, don't come back to me, but I did raw eggs. I drank 6 raw eggs a day until I was about 160 pounds. And then I added 2 more, and I did 8 raw eggs per day. And I cracked them into a cup, and I took a fork, and I mixed it up until it was one consistency, and I drank it the second I woke up. I mean, I would wake up out of bed, throw clothes on, go pee, come downstairs, put my eggs in a cup, drink the eggs. Done. First thing in the morning, first thing I did. It's gross. Don't really care. It doesn't taste that bad, to be honest with you. It is what it is. The only thing with it, and looking back, was terrible. But I did get salmonella from it. So I did stop doing that. But I do attribute that to like a big part of the amount of growth that I did see, the amount of weight that I did gain. But instead, I just cooked the eggs, and I just scrambled 8 eggs a day. But I did eggs, so whether I was drinking them or scrambling, doesn't matter. But I wake up, the first thing I'm doing, I'm going straight to food. I'm making myself 8 eggs, scrambled, sunny side up, over easy. I don't care. You can make them I made them into quiche, like little balls before style things. I did anything. I drank them. It doesn't matter. Get it in. And honestly, the eggs, ton of protein, ton of calories, real easy to eat. You can't convince me you can't sit down with a plate of 8 eggs, put some ketchup on it, or I even put syrup on it. Doesn't matter. And just shovel it into your mouth. You barely even have to chew it, for God's sake. Just shovel it in and swallow it. You're done. That helped a ton. That set me off on a good foot. And it didn't fill my stomach up to the point where I was not able to eat 2 to 3 hours later. So I would have that. I had a meal at work, chicken and rice. I had another meal at work, ground beef and mashed potatoes. I had another meal at work, some type of spaghetti with ground beef, heavy on the ground beef. But I got carbs in. I got my proteins throughout the day. I got everything I needed. I had bags of, veggies to go along with some of those meals, small stuff like that. Got home, had dinner, whatever my wife was making. And I still to this day do the same thing. She makes sloppy joes, coney dogs, some type of casserole, whatever it was I had for dinner. If you're still at home, your mom still makes your dinner, go ahead, have what mom made for dinner. But then after that, that's where I feel like a lot of people miss. That's a lot of food. That's 5 times now I've eaten that day. And I had kids, so it's easy for me to keep on the structure of it, but we'd eat at 5:30. Kids went to bed between 7 and 8 o'clock. So the kids went to bed, I'd go eat another meal. And a lot of times those meals changed depending on how my mood was. But a lot of times I'd have like 2 brats. I'd go in the air fryer, make 2 brats real quick. Pop them out, put them in buns, some relish, whatever I wanted, eat them real quick, right? And then this was, I think, one of the biggest things that I did that really helped. The eggs and this. And what I did was I took the big cans of chicken breast, right? Or a big can of tuna. And all I did was I threw it in a bowl, barbecue sauce for the chicken, mayonnaise for the tuna. And I would eat that right before I went to sleep. Like to the point where I'd be down in the kitchen and I'd put it all in the bowl and I'd shovel it in real quick. My stomach would be so full, I felt like I was going to explode by everything I'd eaten throughout the day. I would shovel it in, walk upstairs, brush my teeth, go to bed, fall asleep. That's how quickly I did it. I understand it's not optimal. It can disrupt your sleep to have food in your stomach though, John. Maybe that's not the best thing to have. Doesn't matter. It worked. I gained so much weight doing that. I gained it so quickly. My lifts went up in the gym. I was able to hold more weight. I immediately felt like my arms got bigger. My legs got bigger. My back exploded, it felt like. Everything on me got bigger. I finally gave my food or my body the fuel it needed through the food. Now, with all this said, I also was having 2 protein shakes a day. So I would take one to work and I'd drink on that in the morning, the first hour or 2 of the day, and it was just simple. I just used a shaker cup full of whole milk. I put a normal serving of protein, and right now I still use it. It's from Bulk Supplements. It's Amazon stuff, super cheap, decent stuff. The ingredients are pretty simple. It's whey protein. That's it. I didn't get anything too crazy. I did that, and I do a scoop of creatine in the morning, and then at night, what I do is with my dinner, I have another protein shake. I still do this stuff to this day. I still have my protein shake full of whole milk, a scoop of protein powder, 30 grams of protein. I have a scoop of creatine, 5 grams. So in total, I get 10 grams of creatine per day. That's another great point. Get on creatine. Get on it. Now, 5 grams of creatine anymore is not deemed to cut it. It just doesn't. I saw an interesting thing the other day. I don't fully remember the ratio, so don't quote me on it. But it basically boils down to about a gram a day. A gram about half a gram per, what is it, like a pound of body weight or whatever. I can't think of it right now. It doesn't matter. But if you weigh 200 pounds, you need about 10 grams of creatine. If you weigh 100 pounds, 5 grams is perfect. But when a 200-pound guy does not need 5 grams of creatine, not really going to do a lot. You need more as you weigh more. So, 200 pounds, take 10 grams of creatine. I do 5 in the morning, 5 at night. Just so we're clear, it doesn't matter if you're taking pills, if you're taking the powder, doesn't matter. Find the monohydrate, the best stuff you can get. The other stuff, the HCl stuff or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I've never seen anything, never done anything better for me. Take the normal stuff. I get my stuff from bulk supplements as well. It's on Amazon. It's very cheap. That's what I use. Like I said, 10 grams per day on it. You don't have to load up on it. I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. You can Google all this stuff. Creatine is like the second most researched supplement out there other than whey protein. It is very safe. I haven't seen a bad study about it since like the 1970s about hair loss or this or that. All that stuff's kind of been debunked. It's been studied thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Creatine is safe to take. Honestly, there's way more benefits to it than just getting bigger and stronger. Take creatine, weigh 200 pounds, take 10 grams a day. Get your protein shakes in. Once I started doing that stuff and I stopped telling myself, I'm a hard gainer, I just can't put on size. Look at me, I'm eating all this food and I'm going to the gym and I'm working hard and whatever. I wasn't eating enough, plain and simple. And I did a lot of other crazy stuff too. And at this time, I had a baby, so the baby was up multiple times per day. So what I would do is I'd take one of those little protein shakes, the premier ones, and to be honest with you, don't flame me in the comments. I don't care if it's not the best stuff you can get. I don't care about whether this or that or blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you what worked for me and what I needed to get over plateaus and humps and stuff like that. I left one of those beside my bed, and that baby would wake up. My wife would get him the first time, or I would get him, or whatever. Doesn't matter. Noon or midnight, 1, 2, 3 a.m. I would sit up out of bed, grab the shake, chug it really quick, go take care of my baby, and do that. Now that worked, and I don't advise waking up in the middle of the night to chug your protein shake. But my point is, if you're in that position too, take advantage of it. Take the protein real quick. There's 100, 120, 150 calories, whatever those shakes are, 30 grams of protein in the middle of the night. My stomach was constantly full of food. It just always had food in it. I always had fuel. I always was building something. Now, that being said, I did all that stuff, and I do still do most of that. Now, I don't eat, I don't eat that much, or I don't have that meal at the end of the night. I still have meals throughout my day at work. I still have my breakfast in the morning. I still have 2 protein shakes. I still eat dinner. Right now, I have a bowl of cottage cheese at the end, towards the end of the night after the kids in bed. I don't slam a can of chicken breast or whatever. But I want to say, I had a really hard time eating more food. So what I did is I just, instead of adding gigantic meals, I just ate the same meals I was eating them more often. Force feeding myself for sure. I don't eat like eating. I hate eating. If I could not do anything the rest of my life, it would be eating food. I don't like it, but I need to do it. So I ate smaller meals and I just ate as often as I physically could. And when I couldn't, I would drink it. I would drink the calories. I would drink the eggs. I would drink the protein shakes. I would drink the protein shakes at night. There's the little yogurt protein drink crap. I didn't care. Muscle milk. Didn't care what it was. If it had calories, it had protein in it, I drank it. Plain and simple. And when I didn't want to drink, I ate. When I didn't want to eat, I drank. Now, all this needs to go in pair with working out in the gym. You need to go hard in the gym. You need to lift. You need to lift often. You need to lift heavy. And you need to lift near failure near maximum weights, whether it's, through absolute load, whether it's 1 rep max, 2, 3, 5, 10, doesn't matter. Get yourself to failure. Push yourself every day you get in the gym. If your goal is to put on size, you need to be pushing yourself in the gym. Now, you can't go on the leg press, put on 2 plates, do it for a set of 10 and go, my legs will blow up. No, you need to put on the leg press, whatever it takes. You can do 11 reps with it, do 10. Like, you need to be at failure, past failure, or just barely to failure. None of this crap where you put on and you do some curls and you fling them up and you're looking around and you're whatever, or you load up something on a bench and you do a set of 5 and you rack it. If your goal is to put on size quickly, your goal is to put on muscle mass, every single last rep of every set needs to look hard. Do not save your energy for the rest of the workout. Don't worry about burning yourself out. Oh, I want to save my pecs, so I don't want to go too hard on bench today. No, go hard on bench. Hammer your pecs again. Hammer your pecs again. Hammer your pecs again. You want a bigger chest? You're eating a bunch of food. You want to gain some size? Hammer your pecs. Hammer your quads if that's what you want bigger. Hammer, hammer, hammer the entire workout. Don't save yourself. None of that stuff. Now, when we're talking about strength and we want to gain strength on our 1 rep max, we want to get stronger, we want to get into powerlifting and not so much of like the power building or bodybuilding or just wanting to put on lean, good size and mass and just general strength, push every movement, get in the gym, get a nice good warm up in and just hammer stuff. Like, hit it hard. You're on incline, you should be failing. You're doing dumbbells, you should be failing. You're doing RDLs, you should be failing. When you're done with an RDL and you want to go do something else, go do a leg curl till failure. Do 2, 3, 4 sets until you can't anymore. Take weight off if you have to. Hammer, hammer, hammer. None of this is going to work. Now, I heard one interesting thing, and I forget who I heard it from or what source, but it's about J.M. Blakely. And if you guys don't know who that is, dude from back like West Side Times, big bencher, equipped records, raw records, all this stuff. Very good bencher, very strong dude. The JM press came from him. He made the JM press. People talked before about the way that he ate his food was the same way that he was in the gym, the same intensity. So you're getting all hyped up for a bench, right? You're going to do a set of 5, super heavy. You've never done that weight. You get yourself hyped up. You're doing smelling salts. You're doing chalk, you're getting yourself worked up, you got music blaring in your ears, you lay down, you get up, you're amped, you're ready to go, you hit your 5, you pop up, you're screaming, whatever. Bring that same style of energy, fine, you don't have to do the smelling salts, but bring that to your food, bring that with your meals. Get like ready, get pumped to go. Don't go, I gotta eat again. Be like, all right, I gotta eat, let's just get it, let's go. Like, I got this meal, let's throw it in the microwave, let's heat it up real quick. All right, let's go. Just get after it. Get to it. Like, have the same mindset. That's half the battle. Fine, we can work out all day if we want. If we ain't got the fuel for it, we're not going to gain weight. We might even lose weight. We need to have the same style of intensity when it comes to the food and when it comes to working out. We need to have the intensity there. There needs to be a focus on it. There needs to be effort there. You need to try your hardest in order to gain the weight, and that's going to come from getting in this gym and doing your sets, doing hard sets, heavy sets, staying to a schedule, working out 5-6 days a week is what I would say to really put on a lot of size very quickly. Hitting your body parts 2-3 times per week, multiple sets. You can look up all the stuff. You can look up what the optimal sets are per week, 10, 12, 15, 20, 55. It changes every single day, to be honest with you, but doesn't matter. Find what works for you. Hammer, hammer, hammer. And then the third thing we really need to focus on is sleep. Now, my growth got a little tweaked here and there. I've had kids. I've been up in the middle of the night. I've still seen growth. So if you don't have kids and you don't have that excuse, go to bed. Sleep. Sleep your 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. Like, sleep when you need to sleep. Take naps. Sleep. You need to focus on your sleep. You need to focus on your quality of sleep, your quantity of sleep. Yes, sleeping 6 hours is not great. If that's all you can get, then worry about the quality of your sleep. Do what you need to do. You know, they say don't be exposed to like blue lights, do relaxing things, this, do that. If you need a CPAP, get a CPAP, get a good mattress, get comfortable, find out good comfortable ways to sleep, positions, white noise, whatever you need. If all you can do is sleep 6 hours, your quality better be the best quality out there. Now, I only sleep about 6 hours a night. That's all that I'm allowed, or that I'm able to sleep due to my lifestyle and my family. My quality is my highest priority. I go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time. I don't have caffeine too late in the day. I focus on the quality of my sleep because I can't have a lot of quantity. On the weekends, though, I'm able to catch up. I can sleep 8 to 9 hours on the weekends. You know, I try my best on the weekends too. When I can take a nap, I take a nap. I want to catch up on sleep. If you don't have an excuse like that, you don't have wife, you don't have kids, you don't have a reason to not be sleeping other than scrolling your phone, go to sleep. Sleep 8, 9 hours a night. Take a nap after work if you need to help. Sleep, sleep, sleep. That's when you're going to grow. You know, you can look up all this stuff. You can find all the stuff about sleep, about what it does to you, you know, the things it releases, HGH, all that stuff. You know all this stuff. That's where growth really happens. You need to sleep. You need to have the same mindset for working out, eating your food, and sleeping. It needs to be a focus. You need to be dialed into this stuff. You need to put a good emphasis, and you need to do it with purpose. You need to eat every meal with purpose. Every meal needs to serve the purpose of the calorie count, the protein count, the carbs, whatever it is you need that meal to be. You need to focus on that. This lift needs to be focused on what I want it to be. I need to have intent. I need to have purpose in what I'm doing. I'm not going through the motions. I'm coming in, I'm getting the work done, and I'm getting out. Then we need to worry about our recovery. And honestly, that boils down to mainly sleep. Yes, mobility work, foam rolling, Theraguns, massages, acupuncture, whatever you want, chiropractic work, all that stuff is great and it does help. Nothing helps your recovery better than sleep. Not a cold plunge, not a sauna. Nothing's going to help better than sleep. Focus on quantity and quality. And if you can't hit quantity, focus on quality. And just because your quantity's up doesn't mean your quality is. Your quality needs to be the utmost importance, and your quantity needs to be at the highest you can without sacrificing quality for one of your life, but of quality of the sleep. So I think those are the main things. Mainly, stop calling myself a hard gainer. I'm not a hard gainer. To go and sit and go, oh, it's harder for me than the guy over here. Who cares? It doesn't matter. The mindset's going to lose you no matter what you do. You got to get out of the mindset. You're different than them. Who cares? Now, the way that I am now, I've been told that I have great genetics for working out. I've had many people tell me that. Be like, well, you know, I'm able to do this and do that and whatever. I have got myself to a 4-plate squat. I'm working on a 5-plate squat. I have got myself up to almost a 5-plate deadlift. I'm hoping here very soon to demolish a 5-plate deadlift. I've hit over a 3-plate deadlift or a bench before. I've done all this stuff, and now people are telling me that my genetics are the best. And oh, well, you know, and these are people in person that are telling me where I give advice or we talk about things. Well, your genetics are better than mine. You just have good genetics. No, I don't. I used to look like this. I used to be 132 pounds. Now I don't. Now I weigh 200 pounds. I still stay decently lean. I still have body fat on me. I don't have visible abs, but I stay lean. I'm not obese. I don't have a lot of body fat on me. You know, I did all this stuff intentionally. I'm not a hard gainer. I don't care if it's harder for me than this guy over here. Who cares? I'm not comparing myself to these people. I'm comparing myself to myself. What am I doing? Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better at eating than I was yesterday? Is my sleep better than it was yesterday? Am I working out better? Am I harder? Am I stronger than I was? Am I smarter at my training? Is my approach better? Is my programming better? All this stuff matters. Focus on that. Stop with the hard gainer crap. Stop with the comparing yourself. Stop with the I'm eating as much as I can. Eat more. That's the best advice. There is no secret hack. There is no, well, eat this root. Eat this berry. No. Eat more food. Put more food. Focus on meat. Focus on carbs. Focus on dairy. You'll be fine. Eat a bunch of that stuff. Yeah, probably not the best thing in the world. Gallon of milk a day. Probably not the best advice. A lot of healthier things out there. But if it gets you over a plateau real quick and it gets you to realize that more calories in means you gain more size, Drink a gallon of milk a day. Do what you need to do. Do it with intent. Do it with purpose. Absolutely do it with the best, with health in mind and stuff like that. So whatever you decide is that like that for you. But if what I did in my routine helped you guys, but I did that. I ate that way. I worked out 5 times a week, and I went hard when I was in the gym. I was walking out limping, in pain. My arms hurt. It hurt to lift everything above my head, to bend over. My lats just had a pump in them all the time. They were sore. My legs, it sucked to sit down, to stand up, all that stuff. I was happy to go to bed that night. I was happy to finally lay down and fall asleep. I needed my sleep. I focused on all that stuff. Do all this stuff, and I promise you, I don't care if you're 17, 24, 32, whatever. I still am gaining size. I can still put on weight, and I'm 30 years old. All I do is I focus on those things. I focus on calories in, my protein. I'm making sure my quality of sleep's good, and I'm making sure I'm going hard in the gym. Now, we'll talk later about strength stuff and how to program that. But for right now, you want to put on size, go hard in the gym. Failure, failure, failure. Load up a weight, do it for 10. Do it to where you can't do more than 10 and you hit 10. That's it. Squat until you fail. Bench until you fail. Dumbbells, curls, leg curls, doesn't matter. Back raises, do it till you fail. Eat that way. Eat a food. Track your food. Weigh your food. Make sure the calories you think you're getting, you are getting, and you will gain size. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. If you guys struggle with this stuff, comment below. Maybe if you want me to go more in depth on something or whatever, you can reach out to me and I can go over the stuff more in depth or more things that I did and stuff like that. If you guys like that, but yeah, again, this is everything I did to go from 132 pounds to 200 pounds for the last 3 years, I'd say, if not longer. So if you guys like this video, please like it. Please comment down below. Are you guys having a hard time gaining weight? Was any of this helpful? Was this you too? Were you guys 100 and some pounds and now you guys are 200 pounds, moving good weight, healthy, strong, good muscle mass, decently lean? Is this you guys? Comment below. Let me know how you guys are feeling. If you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel. I post every day. I post my training vlogs. I'm going to post more stuff like this. I'll post more gym equipment stuff, programming, advice, all that type of stuff. I try my hardest to post every single day. So if you guys like this stuff, please hit subscribe. Please like the video. Come back. Watch a couple more of my videos. Really helps me out when you guys view the videos, when you guys subscribe. So I think that's all I got for today. I've rambled on for long enough. If you guys like this stuff, like I said, I try to post this stuff. I try to show normal training is what I call it. Normal training, normal programming, normal food, normal dude, normal garage gym. So if you like this stuff, let me know. I do not have an outro. We don't have an outro around here. So this video will just cut.